Are you struggling with your social media and finding, like many small business owners, that managing your socials is no easy job? Are you confused by all the conflicting advice from the experts out there? If you are, then believe me, you are not alone. In fact, far from it, you are completely normal. Over the past year, I have heard from so many different people in my world that they just can't get to grips with their social media. And that's why in June 2023, I worked hard to develop the BOSS framework, an easy to follow system that cuts through the noise, helps you to simplify your content, show up and be heard on your socials, all in a way that suits you. So that's what this episode is going to be talking all about, and we are going to talk all about what the BOSS framework is and how it works. But before we dive in, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to tune in to Show Up and Be Heard. The podcast exists to help women like you simplify your business and your life so that you can stop feeling so overwhelmed. I'm your host, Becci McAvoy, owner and founder of Be Heard Socials, and I am an award-winning social media marketer and international speaker who specialises in content strategy and organic growth on social media. So if you want to cut through the noise and the BS and get practical, actionable advice tailored specifically to make social media marketing accessible and easy to understand, or if you want to be part of a supportive community where women entrepreneurs can feel connected and inspired to achieve their dreams, then keep listening because you are in the right place. To be the first to find out when new episodes go live and get more tips like the ones you hear in this podcast, please make sure you join my email community through the link in the show notes. All right then, let's get started with this week's episode and let's find out what the BOSS framework is all about. Okay, so the very first thing I want to say in today's episode, I want to own it, right? I get the irony that me, someone who considers himself and is a social media expert, telling you not to listen to other experts, but instead to most certainly listen to me and learn my framework to help with your socials, right? But hear me out. This framework wasn't developed based on one thing that once worked for me on my account, one reel that happened to go viral or the latest trend that's online, which so much of the noise that I see on social media of how to run your socials and what you should do is based on. This framework is based on my own experiences and understanding of running multiple different accounts. It's based on my own expertise and running those accounts for long periods of time, for vastly different businesses with different target audiences living different lifestyles. It's based on my experience of being a social media manager over the last 5 years. And it leads from the front because at its heart, it can be tailored to fit your business, your tone of voice, and reach your target audience, because ultimately that's what you need to do. It's about your business. It's about you. You see, I know from my day job that there is no one size fits all approach. And that is what the BOSS framework deals with. It helps you not have a one size fits all approach, but know what you're doing. So if you want to know more, carry on listening because I'm going to explain exactly what the BOSS framework is. It's not revolutionary in that it stands for, like the word boss, each of the letters stands for a different word. You know how many frameworks work. It's an acronym. Well, it's an acronym. Each of the letters stand for a different word. So I'm going to go through what each of those are and explain them a little bit more to you. So let's kick off with B, as that is the first letter. Now, B is for boundaries in place. Now, when I was putting this framework together, I reached out to a few people to sort of run it past them and test it with them, make sure it did align with lots of different businesses. And much like I'm explaining it to you today, I explained it to them. And quite a few of them came back and said, I don't know about boundaries in place being the B, because, like it's a marketing framework. It wants to teach people how to market their business, all of that good stuff. And leading with boundaries might be misleading. Like it might not be the right thing. However, me being who I am as a person, ignored that advice. I did listen to advice as well, obviously, but I did ignore that piece of advice because for me, it was so important to put boundaries front and center of the BOSS framework, because setting strong boundaries on social media is something that not enough people talk about. It gets mentioned as part of an awareness day or a sidebar to a wider point. But honestly, I believe it should be standard advice. And that is why it is front and center of the BOSS framework. It's something I'm really, really passionate about. And the more you listen to these episodes, the more you will realize that. Because you see, setting boundaries for your social media presence isn't a luxury. It's not a self-care buzzword to put in place when you can. It is a strategic necessity that will enable your success as a small business owner to use social media well when marketing your business. And basically, there's this quote from Henry Cloud that I really love, which says, Boundaries are basically about providing structure, and structure is essential in building anything that thrives. And so it's front and center of my framework. Because here's the truth bomb: boundaries make you look more professional, not less. Yes, that is right. Let me say that again. Boundaries make you look more professional, not less. Sure, of course, replying promptly and courteously to any DMs, comments, etc., is a fundamental for good customer service. But applying a 24/7 approach to this will likely lead to eventual burnout. And actually, it can result in inferior customer service. If you're not running at your best, you're not going to be giving your best customer service. The key is striking the right balance between being available and protecting your own mental health and well-being by doing things like setting work hours, establishing response time expectations, and using the features on Instagram that are available to you, like auto replies and things like that, to manage those expectations. And that's the really good news. Platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn and all the other platforms have tons of features that you can use to help you set strong boundaries. You just have to know what they are. And there will be a future episode dedicated to this entirely. But here's a couple of things like off the bat that you can do to help have strong boundaries in place. You can set yourself time limits, and Instagram in its settings has notifications that can pop up when you've been on there a certain amount of time. Phones have settings on there where you can shut the app down during certain types of times of the day. I have an iPhone, and I have a boundaries focus set up on my phone. And in that, at the top, I have my working hours that are set, and basically, those apps are only active when my working hours are active. Now, I can still go into those apps, like Instagram, for example, and see if I've got any messages in there, but it's on my terms. It's if I want to check it, because I am the kind of person who, if I see a notification, I can't have an unread notification on my phone. So I go in and look at it. So by not even being able to see it means that unless I'm actively choosing to go and look at it, I can't see it. And that's so important. It's the strongest part of my boundary setting. So that's an amazing thing that you can be able to do. Set time limits, manage notifications, block and mute people to your heart's content. That is wonderful. And absolutely encouraged. If it triggers any kind of negative emotion in you or makes you feel rubbish, then block and mute and don't worry about it. And it's not because those people that you're blocking and muting or unfollowing are bad people. It's just you knowing your boundaries and knowing that you want to create a good experience on the app. Like I said earlier, you can set up auto responses, and you can ping key messages for anyone who visits your profile to see first. So whenever I go on holiday, I don't do my engagement. I don't respond to DMs. I don't do all of that stuff. But pinned to the top of my profile will be an out of office message saying I'm not here. So this is when you can expect to hear back from me. Now, I've never had it, but I do know that you can get negative responses to that as well. People could get frustrated and irritated, and maybe they won't work with you, and maybe they won't buy from you because you haven't replied to them straight away. Honestly, I'm all right with that. I think that's a massive red flag. If someone's getting really irritated with me because I've got boundaries in place, I don't actually want to work with them. So yeah, own those boundaries. I am not going to go into a massive amount of detail here. Like I said, there will be a future episode dedicated to boundaries. But one of the things I would say, one of the tips I'd go away and do from this is work out what frustrates you about social media. Why don't you like it? Why do you get irritated with it? Is it, which is common because you feel like you've constantly got to reply to messages and people message you at all times a day, in which case some of the things I just spoke about are ways that you can deal with that. But once you know what it is that you want in play, or what it is that frustrates you, you can then put a boundary in place to protect that. So you can find the feature of what will help you do that. And there's tons of them, which is why I don't have the time in a short, snappy episode to go into all of them. But the very good starting point is going, right, what's all the reasons I hate social media? And then sussing out how you can put boundaries in place to overcome that. And I, live and breathe the platform. So I'm happy to help you in any way that you can to try and find a feature for it. Because the best news is that when you do set these strong boundaries, you will enhance your productivity, you will protect your mental health, and you will spend more time on your core business activities. Because the truth is, no one should be spending most of their time on social media, even people who do it as a job. So yeah, boundaries in place, that is the B. And like I said, we'll dig deeper into that in a future episode. So the OSS, or the OSS of the BOSS framework, all stands for simplifying your content and creating simpler content basically, and how to approach your content. So the O stands for optimize for engagement. One of the things I get asked a lot, and I mean a lot, is about how to increase engagement. And I get it, right? Engagement is the lifeblood of social media. Without it, you're just broadcasting. You feel like you're just broadcasting, and you are. Engagement helps you build a closer relationship with your followers. It really, really, really is the lifeblood of social media. It allows you to get under their skin and understand what they want and need from you. And it sets you aside from other brands who ignore their customers, and it also gets you seen by more people. But the thing most small business owners that I talk to forget is that engagement is a two-way activity. Engagement, you're not owed engagement. Engagement isn't something people do with you. It's two-way, which is why it's important that you optimize your posts, your stories, and your activity on social media and on the different platforms with engagement in mind. So there's a quote from Darren Rouse, which I love. I love a quote you will learn through these episodes. The best way to get engagement on social media is to be engaging on social media. And there are loads of ways that you can do this. But one of the key things to remember is to always include a call to action on every post. People aren't mind readers. So if you want them to do something, you need to tell them. A call to action. So basically what this is telling the person what you want them to do off your post. Could be a slight nudge to encourage engagement, a direction to do something, such as save this post if you want to come back to it later. Or, of course, it could be a direct sales pitch, such as let me know your thoughts. It could be a direct sales pitch. And it could be like link in bio, buy this thing, or it could be like a let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You should also be pre-planning your posts to ensure that some of them are specifically designed to encourage engagement. And you can do this by sharing tips and advice for people to save, using relatable quotes and stories for people to comment on, and the golden nugget, creating shareable content. Because that when people share it, they're putting you in front of their audience as well. The algorithm absolutely loves engagement. So if you can get this right, you are on to an absolute winner. And in a future episode, again, I'd love to know your thoughts on what you'd find useful. I've got some planned out. If you want me to talk about the algorithm and how, in my experience, it responds to engagement and that kind of stuff, I can dig deeper into that. I won't right now. But what I can tell you right now is the algorithm loves engagement. So the more you optimize your content for that engagement, the better. And I do definitely have an episode planned in the future about engagement, like specifically what it is, how to do it, all that good stuff. But yeah, the O stands for optimize for engagement. The first S is, I say it's my favorite. I think it's because I see so many women-owned businesses not doing this, because I just think we're conditioned not to. So the first S is for show off. So, right, I firmly believe, and I will die on this hill, more women need to unapologetically show off. It would make the world a better place. The end. That's it. That's why you need to show off. No, I'm joking. That's not the end, but I am serious. Your achievements are worth celebrating. So it's time to say goodbye to the societal expectations and the ingrained gender norms that make us downplay our accomplishments for fear of being seen as arrogant. We need to stop walking on eggshells to find the balance between confidence and likability. Because, as Dolph Ziggler says, like I said, I love a quote, it's not showing off if you can back it up. It's fact. If you can back it off, you are just if you can back it up, you are just demonstrating fact. Simply put, social media is a brilliant place to shout about your successes. And I spoke about this in the first episode, where it's a really good reason of why you need to show up on social media. So when you share reviews, testimonials, and video interviews of happy clients, you'll also help to build that know, like, and trust, and reassure people that you can solve their problems too. Showing behind the scenes glimpses, the journey that brought your business to life or your brand values, will help you to build a connection with your audience that goes beyond a business and customer relationship and builds a loyal community of people who will happily champion your small business. So we're picking up on that stuff that we spoke about in the first episode. You want to build those communities, and showing off will help you do that. So don't be afraid to show off. And instead, right, and take it from me, if you take nothing else from this episode, embrace the opportunity to shout aloud about what makes you and your business the best, because you are freaking awesome. You are, and you deserve to show off about it. One of my favorite things to do with my members when we talk about like the show off post and like, oh, I don't know what to say, and I can fire hundreds of things back at them because I see them doing amazing things. So if you're stuck, spend a few minutes just writing down some things that you've achieved in your business since you started it. And I bet in no time at all, if you spend 5 minutes on that, you'll come up with a list of things. And if you come up with 10 ideas, that's 10 posts, and you post one of those a week, that's 10 weeks worth of content. And if you really struggle with it, ask someone in your business community what some amazing things that you've done. Ask your friends and family, and just say, I'm struggling and I need to show off on social media. So tell me, because you need to be doing it loud and proud. So that takes us to the final S, which is for sell often. And it's sell often. It's not just sell, which it was when I originally put the framework together, and then I added in the word often. Because too many businesses, especially those, again, that are women owned, shy away from selling on social media. Like we shy away from being proud of our successes and showing off, we shy away from selling because it feels repetitive or it feels sleazy and it can feel uncomfortable and it can feel icky. But the harsh reality is that if we're not selling, we don't have a business. We just have an expensive hobby. And my God, that's a truth bomb when you realize it. Ultimately, as businesses, all the content we create should be leading towards making money and creating more sales. So we should be selling, and we should be selling often, at least once a week, even if we don't have anything to sell. If you're launching something and you're selling something, you should be doing it more than that on your posts, in your stories, like on lives, through the different features that you've got and what you feel comfortable doing. And obviously, at this point, I'm going to give you a quote because we've established I love a quote. Zig Ziglar. If you believe your product or service can fulfill a true need, it's your moral obligation to sell it. It's not, if you're helping someone with what you're selling, it's not sleazy and it's not icky. It's a business and we're marketing ourselves. So telling people what you sell and how to buy from you is so important. But selling on social media doesn't need to be about exchanging money. That's a really good thing to point out at this point. It could be sharing a blog or a free download. It could be asking people to join your email list or your Facebook group, or perhaps inviting people to DM you. It's basically you're asking them to do something to make them a warmer audience. You're asking them to go somewhere else. You're asking them to go to your DMs, to go to your link in bio, to go to your comments, whatever it might be. You're asking them to go to your blog and go to your website. It doesn't have to be that you're asking them to go and buy something. You're just asking them to go and find out more about you. But ensuring that you sell often on your social media isn't just a marketing tactic. It's, and I'm going to say this slowly because I speak fast, it's a fundamental part of the success of your business. Supporting your brand to stay front and center of your followers' minds. If they don't know that you've got something to sell, they can't buy from you. So there you have it, the BOSS framework. Are you ready to put it into practice for your own socials? I'm going to guess. I'm going yes. I'm taking the positive vibes. So if you want to know more about the BOSS framework, please do come follow me over on social media. I do also have the Boss Your Socials Club membership, and you can obviously check that out because we talk a lot about that in there, and the content plans are structured around it. So yeah, if you're shouting yes, you might like to check the Boss Your Socials Club out, and I will put the link in the show notes. It's a membership I created actually after I created the framework. The framework came first, and then I just realized more and more ways that I could help people, basically. And it's centered around the framework that I've laid out in this episode. Members receive a monthly content plan and templates, plus accountability sessions. There's an amazing community exclusively for women-owned businesses, because I genuinely believe that magical, incredible things happen when women come together. And my goodness, this community has proved it. It's been active now for about a year, and it is the most incredible community of women lifting each other up and cheerleading each other and supporting each other. So yeah, it's exclusively for women-owned businesses. And you also get access to a social media marketing expert. Yep, that's me. And do you know what? I'm putting into practice a couple of the boss things there. I'm showing off. I am a social media expert. That's a fact. It makes me feel uncomfortable. If you can see me on screen right now, I am blushing. But it's something we all have to do, however uncomfortable it makes us feel. And I have a little post-it note on my wall in front of me that says, I used to just say selling, but I've changed it. Say, if you're not showing off and selling enough, sorry, if you're not uncomfortable, I should read it out, shouldn't I? If you're not uncomfortable, you are not showing off and selling enough, because it does make us feel uncomfortable. But it is what it is. So yeah, you get access to a social media expert as well. You get pick my brain sessions, Facebook Live Q&As, where you can come and ask me anything. So yeah. Come join me. And the best bit is it's only £24 a month or £240 for the whole year, because I wanted to deliberately make it affordable for businesses that can't afford to outsource and can't afford to have a team to implement a lot of the advice that's given to them. So do go check it out via the link in the show notes if you want to know more. And if you don't, that's totally fine. Just come follow me on Instagram, because I talk about it a lot on there, and I give lots of freebies and advice and stuff away on there and on my blog as well. So yeah, you'll not only get prompts with ideas of what and when to post, but I'll also give you the tools to understand how to, and most importantly, tell you why you are doing it. Because like I said, I'm all about the why. You are here to learn, not just follow instructions, but blindly. It's a team effort. So let's get your socials bossed, whether that be by joining the membership or coming to follow me over on my social media channels. Please do. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to connect with you if I haven't already. Thank you so much for listening to Show Up and Be Heard, but please don't go without telling me your name. I genuinely love meeting new people and making new connections. So if you don't already, I'd love it if you'd come find me on Instagram, LinkedIn or Facebook and drop me a message to say hello and let me know what you thought of the episode. The link to all my socials are in the show notes. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode or found it useful, then I'd really appreciate it if you could take just a few minutes to give it a review on whatever platform you are listening on, because everyone I get really does make me do a little squeal and a big happy dance. Finally, more than anything else, please always remember, realizing that you're not actually meant to do this stuff alone is the first step to making it easier. So I'll see you next time.